And we are live, and welcome guys to this very special fantasy booking video. Now, if you guys recall, when I was doing my Thursday night Q&A with Daniel guys a few days ago, I promoted this video. We are live, and welcome guys to this very special fantasy. I forgot to mute the chat box. Silly me, I forgot to mute the chat box. But anyway, guys, like I was saying, me and Daniel guys, we did a Q&A. And then at the end of the Q&A, I announced that I was going to do a very special fantasy booking video because I'm taking a break from Monday Night Raw. I can't, put myself through the chore, task, whatever, of watching, 3 hours of Monday Night Raw if I'm not going to get a good or solid show. You know what I'm saying? So Daniel and we started talking on Twitter, and then he gave me the idea of booking my own edition of Monday Night Raw for tonight. We were talking about how SmackDown is such a superior brand, and one idea led to another, and then I started saying to myself, I could probably book an even better episode of Monday Night Raw than what they're going to book for tonight, and that's what led to this video. So what I'm basically going to do, guys, is I have my script / notes in front of me. I'm going to go through everything that I have for this edition of Monday Night Raw for today, October 3rd, 2016. It does emanate live from Los Angeles, California. So without any further ado, chat box is open and ready. So of course, guys, leave your comments down in that chat box. Let me know what you think of the show. Got my bottled water ready because this may go a little long, not too long, but I'm going to be talking a lot. Don't want to get winded. So without any further ado, let's get down to business. So in the words of Michael Cole, welcome everyone to Monday Night Raw, and we are emanating live from Los Angeles, California. We have the lovely JoJo in the ring, and she announces that our opening contest will be for the United States Championship. So cue Roman Reigns' music and cue the Los Angeles crowd booing him. So Roman's music hits, but after a few seconds, maybe a minute, he doesn't come out for the match. Where could Roman be? Well, let's go backstage as it is revealed that he is being violently assaulted by the former United States champion Rusev. Rusev just goes on this rampage. He just annihilates Roman in the back. He takes the assault to the outside, out into the arena, throws Roman down the ramp, and then throws him into the barricade a couple of times. Rusev then grabs a steel chair, removes Roman's combat vest, takes Roman into the ring, and starts to just beat the hell out of him with a steel chair. As Roman struggles to make it back to his feet, Rusev grabs steel stairs, throws those into the ring while the lovely Lana makes her way down to ringside, and Roman gets the steel stairs cracked across his spine. Lana then enters the ring while Rusev is holding Roman up, and Lana slaps the taste out of Roman's mouth twice. And then Roman is placed on the steel stairs while Rusev ascends to the middle rope and dives off and hits a wicked splash, which causes Roman to feel a huge amount of pain in his ribs. He's clutching his ribs in pain, grimacing in pain, while officials come to get Rusev out of the ring. But while doing so, Rusev takes Roman's United States Championship and holds it over him while officials are checking on him. And Rusev declares that he will be the United States Champion once again. So that's how we kick off the show, guys. As we return from break, we go backstage where Roman is being stretchered out of the arena, as they usually do on Raw. They show you the footage of what happened just moments ago before they went to commercial break. As we go backstage live, Roman is being stretchered out of the arena, and he's about to be loaded into an ambulance when Rusev returns, knocks Roman off the stretcher, continues his assault, and gets him in the accolade. Officials struggle to get Rusev off of Roman. They try to get him to break the hold. Eventually, Rusev does break the hold, but the damage is done, and officials now order Rusev to leave as they once again attend to Roman. So that's pretty much it, guys. Roman Reigns is not going to be on the show for the rest of the evening. As you can see, Rusev really putting a walloping on him, really taking it to him. I really like that spot I did with the splash, with Roman doing taking the splash on the steel stairs. So yeah, guys, no Roman Reigns for the rest of the show. We then go back inside the arena, and before I continue, I just want to say I mainly booked matches, backstage segments, and in-ring segments, no backstage interviews. And for certain promo people, like this one tag team that's going to come out in a little bit, I didn't write a promo for them because what they say on the mic is just gold. And I can't really do them justice with coming up with their own promos and whatnot. So, you know, I kept it short, sweet, and simple. So anyway, going back into the arena, the Shining Stars come out and begin passing out pamphlets to the WWE Universe, encouraging them to come to Puerto Rico. And they get on the mic and they diss the city of Los Angeles. And before you know it, they are interrupted by my favorite realest guys in the room and yours, Enzo and Big Cass, who come out to let the Shining Stars know that there is only one word to describe them. And if you're watching this live with me, spell it with me. S-A-W-F-T. Soft. So we get our opening contest, our official opening contest. Enzo and Big Cass versus the Shining Stars. Early on, Enzo and Big Cass take control of the match, with Cass launching Enzo onto the Shining Stars on the outside. Towards the end, Big Cass gets the hot tag after the Shining Stars neutralize Enzo for a good period of time. He hits an East River crossing on Primo, an Empire elbow to Epico. Cass then makes the tag to Enzo and sets him up for the bada boom shakalaka, but Primo attempts to stop them. But Cass ends up launching Enzo onto Primo. Cass then attempts to knock Primo off the apron with a big boot, but Primo pulls the ropes down and sends Cass crashing. Cass crashing. Excuse me. I'm getting my tongue tied. Excuse me, but just excited to be doing this. Anyway, Cass gets sent crashing to the outside. Enzo knocks Primo down and then sends Epico over the top rope, but Epico lands on the apron. Enzo then attempts to suplex him back in. Primo grabs Enzo's leg, causing Epico to fall on Enzo, and Primo holds down on Enzo's leg. Now, they did this once before, a few weeks ago on Raw, and it got him the win. This time, however, Big Cass lays Primo out with a big boot and breaks up the pin just in time. Epico tries to take a swing at Cass. Enzo pops up and hits a spike DDT on Epico, and Enzo and Cass hit the bada boom shakalaka for the win. After the match, Cass throws Primo back into the ring, drills him with the East River crossing, and then Enzo hits another bada boom shakalaka. So Enzo and Cass finishing what they started with the Shining Stars and moving on to hopefully Tag Team Championship contention and Tag Team Championship glory. We then have our first backstage segment of the show. The Brian Kendrick is seen strutting down the hall, and he runs into Raw GM Mick Foley. Mick Foley then informs Brian Kendrick that he wants the Cruiserweight division to revolutionize Raw, and he wants the Cruiserweight division to become somewhat of a flag bearer for young talent who may not be as big and as strong as a lot of the big guys in the company. So Foley then tells Brian Kendrick that he spoke to Cruiserweight champion TJ Perkins earlier in the day, and he has postponed the originally scheduled match between the Brian Kendrick, and TJ Perkins. Instead, Mick Foley has put Kendrick and 5 other cruiserweights in a 6-man cruiserweight gauntlet, which will determine a new #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship. Brian Kendrick is not happy with this decision, but he tells Mick Foley he feels sorry for whoever comes his way in that gauntlet match because he will stop at nothing to win and get another crack at TJ Perkins and the Cruiserweight Championship. We then have our second match of the night, which is Nia Jax versus Alicia Fox in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Yes, we're going to do things a little differently with the women this week. We're going to make it interesting. We're going to make the division a little more interesting, and it starts with this. It's a Night of Champions rematch, but it's a Falls Count Anywhere match between Nia Jax and Alicia Fox. Get a quick swig of water. All right, so Nia versus Alicia in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Alicia goes right after Nia at the start of the match. She lands little flurries of punches on Nia, but Nia manages to just knock her off with her brute strength and throws Alicia around like a rag doll. Nia will proceed to dominate a majority of the match, but Alicia manages to turn things into her favor when she uses Nia's momentum against her and sends Nia over the top rope by pulling down the top rope as Nia comes charging at Alicia. Alicia then hits a drop kick from the apron, which staggers Nia, and grabs a steel chair and rams it into Nia's stomach. She then hits Nia across the back with 2 chair shots and goes for a headshot, but Nia grabs the chair, forces Alicia to the ground, and then backs Alicia up to the ring post and throws the chair at Alicia, trying to behead her, but she ultimately misses. Alicia then forces Nia into the ring post twice and attempts a crossbody from the barricade, but gets caught and is rammed spine first 3 times into the ring post by Nia, and then gets flattened like a pancake with a brutal Samoan drop on the outside. Nia places her foot over Alicia's prone body and scores the pin for the victory. So once again, establishing Nia Jax as that new monster on the main roster. Just a brutal display of power and a brutal ending right there. Pretty much ending the feud with Alicia Fox. Now, as Nia begins to walk up the ramp, officials are attending to Alicia, and they begin to help her up the ramp as well towards the back. But just then, Nia turns around and practically kills Alicia and nearly cuts her in half with a wicked spear. So like I said, that pretty much ends the feud between Nia Jax and Alicia Fox. And once again, we're building Nia Jax up, as that new monster women's wrestler on Raw. We then have a backstage interview with Andrea DeMarco, who asked Seth Rollins about his attack on Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho during the highlight reel last week. Seth says he is far from done with Kevin Owens, and he has his own agenda with Jericho following his interference in their title match at Clash of Champions. He then goes on to question Stephanie McMahon's integrity following the recent controversies that have happened in recent weeks, and says that Kevin Owens can't lace his boots, let alone carry the company on his back like he did when he was WWE World Heavyweight Champion last year. Seth says he wants to see what kind of man Owens is when he doesn't have Jericho backing him up, and he promises to call Kevin Owens out to the ring for a one-on-one fight later tonight and burn the Kevin Owens show to the ground. Following that interview, the Raw commentary team of Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Byron Saxton, a.k.a. Booty Saxton, discuss the personal rivalry between women's champion Charlotte and the former women's champion Sasha Banks, and they begin to hype up the scheduled women's championship match for the evening. However, as they're doing so, they are alerted that something has occurred backstage in the women's locker room, and we go backstage to find Sasha lying unconscious on the floor as officials are attending to her. So we go to a commercial break from there, and when we come back, we move on to our third match of the evening, which is the 6-man Cruiserweight Gauntlet match to determine a new #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship. Now, before the match begins, Michael Cole informs everyone that Sasha Banks is being attended to backstage by doctors, and updates will be made available as soon as possible. However, the status of the Women's Championship match is uncertain at this time. Now, this next match, guys, is the lengthiest match that I booked for this show. So please bear with me, but I do hope you guys enjoy what I have in store. So, like I said, 6-man Cruiserweight Gauntlet to determine a new #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship. We have Lince Dorado and Drew Gulak start the match off. They were a team last week on Raw against Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander. After a good 4 or 5 minute exchange between these guys, Dorado hits the Phoenix Splash to eliminate Drew Gulak. Next out comes the Brian Kendrick, who goes right after Lince Dorado. He's not in a good mood. Dorado manages to stun Kendrick with a spinning heel kick and plant him with a Hurricane Runner for a close 2 count. Lince goes for the Phoenix Splash once again, but he misses, and Brian Kendrick immediately locks in the captain's hook to force Dorado to tap out. So Lince Dorado has been eliminated, and Noam Dar enters 4th in this gauntlet match. And once again, Brian Kendrick immediately goes on the attack. This time, Dorado has more of a better fighting chance, so to speak. He has better offense, gets better offense in on Brian Kendrick than Lince Dorado did. He attempts to neutralize the captain's hook by working on Kendrick's arms, but every time he goes for like a submission or anything, it further infuriates and angers Kendrick. Noam Dar goes for an arm breaker, but Brian Kendrick escapes and catches him and throws him shoulder first into the ring post. He then throws Dar back into the ring post a second time and locks him in the captain's hook, applying extra pressure on Dar's injured left shoulder, I should say, and then forces Noam Dar to submit. So Brian Kendrick is on a roll in this Cruiserweight Gauntlet, and I just got a compliment, from TN Couponer saying at least Robbie can book this better than WWE. Thank you, Josh. I don't write for WWE. I don't book for WWE, but as you will see with the rest of this show, I can book a very good to great 3 hours of Raw that is worth watching. So getting back to the Cruiserweight Gauntlet, the next entrant in this gauntlet match is the debuting Gentleman Jack Gallagher, who enters 5th, and Brian Kendrick does not look impressed at all. You know, he tries to bully Gallagher. He just looks at Gallagher like he's nothing. You know, like he'll easily just blow through Gallagher, and he starts to bully Gallagher, and Gallagher begins to catch him off guard with unique and innovative roll-ups. Kendrick is infuriated once again and nearly beheads Gallagher with a wicked clothesline, takes him into the corner and starts to wear him down with knife-edge chops. Kendrick then Irish whips Gallagher into the corner, but Gallagher leaps onto the middle rope and connects with a cannonball for a close pin. He then hits a Hurricane Rana pin and a German suplex pin, both for close 2 counts, and once again is close. Has Kendrick caught off guard. He goes for a monkey flip, but Kendrick manages to hang him up on the top rope. Kendrick then proceeds to slap Gallagher on the head twice, and he goes for sliced bread. But then, picture this, guys. Try to picture this in your head. He goes for sliced bread, misses, lands behind Gallagher. Gallagher quickly slides in between, underneath Kendrick's legs, picks him up, boom, snap German suplex, rolls through, crosses his arms for a bridge and pin. 1, 2, 3. Brian Kendrick is eliminated from the gauntlet match. He is shocked. He is stunned. He is irate. He can't believe he just got pinned by Gentleman Jack Gallagher, the guy that he thought was no threat to him in this gauntlet match. Kendrick just snaps after that. He assaults Gallagher. He constantly throws him right shoulder first into the ring post, lays him out with sliced bread, and then traps him in the captain's hook as the referee attempts to get him to break the hold. And while he does that, out comes the 6th and final participant in this cruiserweight gauntlet, Cedric Alexander. Alexander rushes to the ring, stops Kendrick's assault, and the two brawl as other referees come out to try to separate them. Kendrick is then ordered to leave the ring, and as he walks up the ramp, he has a smug grin on his face as he observes his damage. So the referee and Cedric Alexander then go to check on Jack Gallagher, and the ref asks Gallagher if he can compete. Despite all the damage he took to his shoulder, Gallagher says he's ready to go, and and the referee asks, "Are you sure?" Gallagher says, "Yes, I'm ready to go." And then even Alexander, in some concern for his fellow cruiserweight, goes to the referee and asks, should Gallagher even be allowed to compete in that condition. Gallagher says he wants to fight. Let him fight. The referee makes a decision that the gauntlet match will continue, and we have the final 2 in this gauntlet. Cedric Alexander versus Gentleman Jack Gallagher. Alexander early on displays his strength, hits a couple nice belly-to-belly suplexes, but just like with Brian Kendrick, Jack Gallagher puts on a very valiant effort. He almost pins Alexander on several occasions. He goes for a cartwheel counter, but because of the pain in his right shoulder, it gives out and he collapses. And Cedric Alexander capitalizes with the lumbar check for the victory. Cedric Alexander is your new #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship. After the match, he congratulates Jack Gallagher on his efforts and he raises his hand before both men shake hands in a sign of respect and sportsmanship. So I like what I had there. You know, the Cruiserweight division, like in the Cruiserweight Classic, all about sportsmanship, great competition, and how it couldn't be embodied any better than with Alexander and Gallagher shaking one another's hands, Alexander raising Gallagher's hand after that incredible effort. Even despite all the pain, he managed to make it that far in the gauntlet. But Cedric Alexander capitalized on his one, I don't want to say mistake, but his one downfall, and Alexander is now the Cruiserweight champion. But again, like I said, it's embodying sportsmanship, great competition, and ultimately respect. We then go to our next in-ring segment, which is Seth Rollins coming out to the ring and wasting no time calling out Kevin Owens for a fight. Owens' music hits, but he appears on the Titantron and says to Seth that Seth seems to forget that it's not the Seth Rollins show. So Seth can't come barking threats and demand that Owens come out to his own ring. Owens then says that Raw became the Kevin Owens show the moment he won the Universal Championship, and now that he's champion, he calls the shots. And once again, he rubs in Rollins' face the fact that Rollins has done nothing but fail since returning to Raw, and he mentions the fact that he failed to win the Universal Championship at Clash of Champions. He then says that Seth is totally unworthy and undeserving of a rematch for the Universal Championship and simply not worth his time. Owens then finishes by saying that he'll start looking for new competition who will actually provide him a real challenge for the championship, while Seth can waste his time in the ring bitching and complaining about Triple H and Stephanie McMahon and other authority figures screwing him over. So his request has been denied. Seth Rollins then chuckles a little bit and suggests to Kevin Owens that he change his catchphrase from "Fight Owens Fight" to "Hide Owens Hide," and says if he won't come out to fight, he'll bring the fight to Owens, and proceeds to head backstage. So we go to a commercial break. Following that commercial break, we see Kevin Owens walking backstage. We see Kevin Owens walking backstage looking for potential challengers for his championship when Seth Rollins jumps him and they begin to brawl. And the brawl, it's not as wild as Undertaker and Brock's brawl from last summer, but it gets wild to the point where Mick Foley has to order security and several WWE superstars to separate them. And at this point, Mick Foley is extremely furious with what has just happened, and he orders that both men meet him in his office later tonight so he can handle the situation once and for all. We then move on to our fourth match, which is our second women's match of the evening, Bayley versus Summer Rae. Gonna take a quick swig of water before we move on to that match. All right. So our fourth match of the evening, guys, is our second women's match of the night. Like I said, Bayley versus Summer Rae. Now, during this match, Michael Cole announces that Sasha Banks has regained consciousness. Excuse me. But they are checking up on her backstage because they suspect she may have suffered some head trauma. And as a result, Mick Foley is forced to call off the Women's Championship match that was originally scheduled for this evening. So Bayley gets off to a good start, but Summer Rae takes control by catching Bayley off guard with a standing spinning heel kick. Summer goes on to dominate a good portion of the match, but Bayley begins to mount a comeback. She hits her usual offense and catches Summer in a Bayley to belly for the victory. So Bayley is victorious tonight. Excuse me. As Bayley is celebrating, Paige makes a surprise return to the ring. Excuse me. Paige returns, makes a surprise return to Raw. As she comes to face with Bayley, the crowd begins to chant "Welcome back," and Paige takes the time to thank all the fans who reached out to her following her suspension. She then briefly brings up some of the personal issues she's dealt with recently and says that what ultimately didn't kill her has made her stronger, and she is ready to prove once again why Monday Night Raw is her house. She then welcomes Bayley to Raw and says that it's women like her and Bayley that revolutionized women's wrestling and are responsible for the current revolution in WWE. And she says that she can't think of a better way to welcome Bayley, a better and more appropriate way to welcome Bayley to Raw than by hugging it out. So the two women hug it out, and as soon as they're done hugging, Paige cracks Bayley with a wicked big boot to the jaw and begins to attack her. And Paige then locks in the PTO in the middle of the ring and tells Bayley to scream for her. So Paige is back with a vengeance. It's good to see her back because I hate that she was very underutilized following the brand split. But guys, remember, this is my fantasy booking, and I'm going to make sure everybody that deserves an opportunity gets an opportunity. So Paige is back with a vengeance, and it looks like she's targeted our favorite hugger, Bayley. So we'll see where things play out from there. We then have our next in-ring segment, which is the New Day coming out to celebrate their 400-plus day reign as, say it with me, WWE World Tag Team Champions. Kofi then grabs the mic and says that even after he required stitches following their title defense against Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson last Monday night, the power of positivity once again proves the difference and is riding strong. Just then, Gallows and Anderson's music hits. Excuse me. Just then, Gallows and Anderson's music hits. I was looking at the chat box briefly. Gallows and Anderson's music hits. But they come from the crowd and they sabotage the New Day from behind. And even though New Day has a one-man advantage, Gallows and Anderson are just pissed off and they're just there to kick ass, and they lay waste to the New Day. They send Big E headfirst into the ring post on the outside, drill him with the Magic Killer on the floor. Kofi attempts to run off the steel stairs and hit a double axe handle, but he's caught by Gallows, who repeatedly slams him into the ring post and then throws him into the barricade. Back inside the ring, they go after Xavier Woods, and Anderson grabs Francesca too, and in an act of revenge, he grabs, with Francesca 2 in his hand, he cracks Xavier over the head with it, a la what Xavier did to Anderson at Clash of Champions. Gallows then picks Xavier up, and Anderson cracks him again with the trombone to the head. And then they hit the Magic Killer on Xavier as Kofi attempts to get back into the ring. Gallows and Anderson welcome him back with one final Magic Killer. And then Gallows and Anderson pretty much repossess everything that the New Day has. They take the championships and Francesca 2 with them, and they leave the ring and head to the back. So as you can see, guys, no fooling around with doctor skits and old fart skits and the old day skits. I mean, this is the Gallows and Anderson that first came into the business, that first came into WWE, just kicking ass, taking names. This is the Gallows and Anderson that we need, and this is the Gallows and Anderson I'm bringing back. No more, no more joking about unicorns and bootios. They want to end the New Day, and they will take what they believe is theirs, and that includes the trombone and the tag team championships. So backstage, we are in Mick Foley's office, and he has security on hand to prevent any further physicality between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Owens enters the office, and then Rollins enters shortly after, and he tries to take a swing at Owens, and security restrains him right off the bat. Foley then says that if either guy attempts to take one more shot at the other inside the office, they will immediately be suspended for 30 days. Foley then says he cannot risk those two tearing each other apart and ultimately losing them, because they are two of his top stars on the brand. And because of altercations like that, he's decided to make a pick your poison main event, with big stakes on the line for both men. Foley considers both men's arguments, why Owens believes Rollins is not worthy of a rematch, and why Rollins believes he deserves a rematch following all the controversy at Clash of Champions. So Foley makes a pick your poison main event with big stakes for both men. If Seth Rollins' representative wins, then Rollins gets a Universal Championship rematch with Kevin Owens. But if Kevin Owens' representative wins, Rollins cannot challenge for the Universal Championship as long as Owens is the champion. So as you see there, guys, I'm making a main event that has meaning and it has a lot on the line. There's a lot at stake in this main event, and that's what makes it meaningful. If Seth Rollins wants another crack at Kevin Owens and the WWE Universal Championship, he's got to find a representative that he knows can beat whoever Owens throws at him to guarantee him another shot in the championship. Because if he fails, he will never get another shot at Owens and the championship as long as Owens is the champion. So that's going to make for a very eventful and very intriguing main event later tonight. We then cut to Charlotte and Dana Brooke, who make their way down to the ring, and Charlotte discusses the match that she was supposed to have with Sasha Banks for the Women's Championship. She says that it's a shame that the match with Sasha was called off due to Sasha's accident, and I say that with quotes because she really doesn't mean what she says. And then she also believes that the match being called off may have been good for Sasha's sake, because that saves Sasha the embarrassment of once again fallen to the queen of the women's division. Charlotte then even insists that maybe Sasha planned the accident because deep down Sasha knows she's afraid of Charlotte and she cannot beat Charlotte. With that said, Sasha's music hits, and despite the suspected head trauma, Sasha is not in the mood. She heads to the ring and tackles Charlotte. Dana Brooke tries to interfere, and Sasha fights her off like Dana is nothing, goes after Charlotte, continues to assault her on the outside. Dana intervenes again, but this time Sasha throws her twice into the barricade and assaults her, then goes after Charlotte again, grabs Sasha by the hair and repeatedly slams her into the steel stairs. Sasha then throws Charlotte back into the ring and gets her into the bank statement and forces Charlotte to tap while referees come out to try and stop Sasha. To stop Sasha to get her to break the hold, basically. Sasha finally releases the hold and is ordered to leave the ring. She exits the ring, but while the officials attend to Charlotte, Sasha turns around, gets back in the ring, jumps on. She storms, guys, back to the ring, jumps on top of Charlotte, and applies the bank statement again. Referees try to restrain her once again. Security is finally ordered, is finally called out, and is forced to restrain Sasha and order her to leave the ring. And as she leaves the ring, she walks over to Dana Brooke and gives her a cold, hard slap across the face. So, guys, leave your comments down below, or leave your comments in the chat box. What do you think really happened to Sasha, and where do you see this going? Now, I'm going to take a quick break because I have been receiving some comments in the chat box. So let's see what you guys have written so far. TN Couponer says he's still in a good mood from last night's, from TNA's Bound for Glory last night. I lost the chat box, excuse me. John McDermott says Raw is Bieber. And if you don't get what that means, he means the current product of Raw is like Justin Bieber because they both suck. TN Couponer says I can see down the road Charlotte and Paige teaming up. Maybe. Might happen. Like I said, if you guys really like what I do, how I booked this show so far, and you want me to book further editions of Raw, I'll do it. And who knows? Maybe Charlotte and Paige will team up, or maybe Paige will just do things on her own. Who knows? John McDermott then says put Strowman on the card. Maybe. I'm not the biggest Braun Strowman fan, but maybe. He then says put them in a 3 stages of hell match. He's referring to excuse me, he was referring to Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. TN Couponer says, good job, Robbie. Just keep it simple. Thank you, Josh. And John McDermott says, great job, Robbie. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your comments. Please keep leaving your feedback in the chat box and share this link with your friends while we're still live. Let me take another swig of water because, like I said, guys, it's a lot of talking I'm doing, and sometimes, you know, I'm getting tongue-tied and whatnot. But I had a lot of fun doing this. But this took a lot of hard work. And if you guys don't believe me, I have 7 pages worth of this stuff that I wrote over the weekend. 7 full pages of this stuff that I wrote because I was very detailed and descriptive with what I wrote. Let me take a quick swig of water and we'll continue with the rest of the show. That's good. Also in the chat box, guys, tell me if this was the episode of Raw you would get tonight, would you watch? And if you did, and if you do, what grade would you give it? We move on to our next match, which is a tag team match: Cesaro and Sheamus versus a couple of local wrestlers from LA. Let's just call them Billy and Bobby, not Billy and Chuck, but Billy and Bobby. So Cesaro wants to start the match off with Billy, but Sheamus tags himself in right as the bell rings, and he insists to Cesaro that he's got everything under control because he's the star of their newly formed yet thrown together tag team. Cesaro's clearly unhappy with this, but because of tag team rules, he has to wait on the apron until Sheamus makes a legal tag. Sheamus goes on to dominate Billy and Bobby from the start, but Bobby manages to man a comeback, and he actually staggers Sheamus with a couple missile drop kicks. Sheamus tries to make a tag to Cesaro, but Cesaro leaves Sheamus hanging and decides to walk up the ramp. Sheamus is left a little baffled, and that gives Bobby an opportunity to make a tag to Billy, and Billy catches Sheamus off guard with a schoolboy for a very close 2 count. He then hits a DDT and scores another close 2 count, then tags in Bobby for a double team clothesline, but Sheamus ducks and nearly beheads these guys with a double lariat. Sheamus is infuriated, he's pissed off, and he nails both guys with bro kicks for the win. So Sheamus wins for his team, although Cesaro walked out on him. But right as Sheamus is celebrating, Cesaro returns and unleashes not an uppercut train, but an uppercut bullet train on Sheamus. He just starts walloping on Sheamus. Uppercuts left and right in the corner. Just left, right, 1, 2 in the corner. Grabs Sheamus by the legs, takes him down, gives him a big swing, and then seals the deal with a neutralizer, followed by the Cesaro fist pump, and then he goes on to celebrate with the Cesaro section. So, guys, I didn't see Raw last week, but a lot of the bad decisions they made last week on Raw, I took them and I made them worth something. I actually made them worth something. I made them better than what they were. So that's Cesaro Sheamus tag team. I think is really stupid. And this inspired the next backstage segment, which I think is the best backstage segment of this entire show, and I really hope to get your guys' thoughts on this. So, backstage, Cesaro is leaving the arena with his bags packed, and he is confronted by Mick Foley. Foley then asks Cesaro what was the deal with him walking out on Sheamus and returning to the ring to assault him. Cesaro reminds Foley that he's the one that set up the best of 7 series between Cesaro and Sheamus because he wanted to see which one man, not 2 men, but 1 man, would establish dominance on Monday Night Raw. But instead, there was no clear-cut winner, and they were thrown together in a random tag team just to earn a pointless tag team championship shot. Cesaro then goes on to tell Mick Foley that he is very frustrated that he could not finish the match at Clash of Champions, even though he told the referee he can wrestle with 1 arm, and he has wrestled with 1 arm before. He also says that he's very frustrated with his current direction on Raw, and he is tired of not being given opportunities that he is more than deserving of, and he's tired of being underutilized. Now, this is the part that I really liked, and this was just like gold when I first thought of it. So check this out, guys. Before Cesaro leaves, he gives Mick Foley an ultimatum. He tells Mick Foley, either you give me 1 more match with Sheamus to determine who earns a future title shot, who earns a future shot at the Universal Championship, which I rightfully deserve, or I'm making a call to Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, and I'm gonna bring the Cesaro section with me to SmackDown. And with that said, Cesaro leaves, and Mick Foley has a little bit of a stern look on his face, and pretty much the ultimatum is laid down. Mick Foley has 1 week. He either gives Cesaro 1 more match with Sheamus to determine an undisputed winner in this best of whatever series, or Cesaro packs his bags, brings the Cesaro section with them, and they all go to SmackDown. I love it. And honestly, guys, Cesaro should be on SmackDown, killing it with John Cena, AJ Styles, Apollo Crews, Dean Ambrose, all those guys. He should be on SmackDown. And this was just a great segment. Whatever really happened on Raw, but I did this because I think Cesaro deserves to be on SmackDown. He needs to let Mick Foley know how frustrated he is, and Mick needs to realize you're either going to give him 1 more shot to earn an opportunity that he's been more than deserving of, or you're going to lose him to the blue brand, and that's going to hurt your brand a lot. So, guys, with that said, we come to the final in-ring segment of the evening. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins making their way down to the ring to announce to the world who they've respectively chosen to represent them in the Pick Your Poison main event. Owens, as a champion, goes first and says he had no problem at all finding the perfect person to represent him because there's only 1 man he can always count on, his best friend, Chris Jericho. So out comes Chris Jericho to represent Kevin Owens in the main event. Rollins says that Owens' pick is no surprise because Jericho is just fighting Owens' battles for him once again. Rollins then says, like himself, the person he's picked to represent him has unfinished business with Jericho. And with that said, Seth Rollins introduces his representative, Sami Zayn. So yes, we are getting another Night of Champions rematch, but there are higher stakes in this. And without any further ado, this is our main event for the evening, guys. A Pick Your Poison main event. Chris Jericho with Kevin Owens in his corner versus Sami Zayn with Seth Rollins in his corner. And remember, guys, what's at stake for both guys? If Kevin Owens wins, Seth Rollins does not get another championship match as long as Owens is a champion. If Sami Zayn wins, Seth Rollins gets a championship rematch with Kevin Owens in the future. Early on, Sami Zayn goes for his moonsault off the barricade, but he misses, and Jericho hits him with a chop block to the right leg. Jericho then begins targeting Zayn's right leg throughout the match and utilizes various submissions to wear him down. Despite the pain in his 1 leg and literally wrestling with 1 leg, Zayn fights back and hits a couple exploder suplexes. He goes for his tope suicida over the top rope, but Jericho ducks it, anticipating it. Instead, Zayn rebounds with a springboard moonsault to the outside, but lands a little awkwardly on his injured leg. As Jericho returns Jericho to the ring, as Zayn returns Jericho to the ring, Owens attempts a sneak attack, but Zayn catches him and prepares to throw his fists up for a fight. Zayn then returns to the ring, but Jericho kicks the rope underneath Sami Zayn's right leg and goes for the walls of Jericho. Zayn manages to get to the ropes easily, but Jericho continues to do damage to the right leg. While the referee separates Jericho, Owens then sneaks in and hits a super kick on Zayn, and Rollins immediately goes after Owens, but ref sees this, and the ref prevents Rollins from any more further physicality with Owens. Back in the ring, Zayn hits a blue thunder bomb, but because of the pain in his leg, he can't make a full cover. Zayn starts to actually pound at his right leg to try to get some feeling back in it, or to try to make the pain go away, whatever, but to try to get some adrenaline going as he's trying to, fight with one good leg, and goes for a reverse exploder in the corner, but Jericho counters and applies the walls of Jericho for a second time. Zayn is in excruciating pain, and he crawls from the middle of the ring to the ropes, but Jericho pulls him back and sits back some more. But despite all the pain, Zayn manages to finally get to the ropes and break the hold. Jericho then goes for the code breaker, but Zayn catches him and throws him into the corner. Zayn goes for a clothesline, but Jericho rolls through and goes for one more walls of Jericho. So as you see, guys, there's not a lot of I'm not doing a lot of false finishes. I'm not doing a lot of finisher overkill, but I'm making it exciting with some near falls and good storytelling. I mean, Zayn's got this injured leg. Jericho's a submission specialist. He's going after the injured leg. Zayn's trying to Zayn's attacking his own leg to try to put some feeling in it or whatnot, so he can survive this match. You know what I'm saying? So I'm loving it. I'm loving how this whole thing flows. Jericho then goes for a clothesline. Zayn flips Jericho over during the walls of Jericho and goes for the hula kick, but Jericho moves and Zayn almost hits the referee. Jericho then goes for a clothesline but hits the referee instead. Zayn hits a reverse exploder, and out of nowhere comes Kevin Owens, who hits a pop-up powerbomb on Zayn. Seth Rollins then gets into the ring and attacks Owens, knocks him out, and floors him with a tope suicida of his own over the top. As the referee begins to recover, Rollins attempts to re-enter the ring, but is knocked off the apron by Jericho's springboard dropkick. Jericho then calls Rollins a stupid idiot and tells him to stay out of the ring. And while he does that, Zayn runs with whatever strength he has left, connects with a haluva kick, then hits the blue thunder bomb right as the referee is recovering. 1, 2, 3. Sami Zayn wins the Pick Your Poison match, ultimately earning Seth Rollins a championship rematch with Kevin Owens. After the match, Owens immediately hits the ring and attacks Zayn. Jericho joins in the assault, and Rollins gets back in the ring, and both guys clear the ring of Jericho. Mick Foley comes out once more to end the show, and he says that it seems that all four men are hankering for a fight, and that's what he will give them. Next week, he is making a tag team main event, which will pit Jericho against Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn. Before the show goes off the air, Mick Foley then addresses Sami Zayn. He says that he's been thinking about what Sami Zayn said a few weeks ago about being directionless, and has to remind Sami that by virtue of his win, he ultimately earned Seth Rollins a Universal Championship match against Kevin Owens. However, Foley says that Zayn does deserve a title shot on the strength of his tremendous performance in victory against Jericho, and reminds Sami that he is undoubtedly a very talented athlete. He's one of the best athletes on the roster. And with that said, Mick Foley is pleased to announce that at Hell in a Cell, Kevin Owens will defend the WWE Universal Championship against Seth Rollins and against Sami Zayn in a triple threat match. So there you have it, guys. No Hell in a Cell match for these guys. It'll be a triple threat. Owens, Rollins, and Zayn. Owens has beef with both guys. None more obvious than Zayn. As Zayn is celebrating, Rollins has not a shocked or appalled look on his face, but that look of like, really? Really? He won the match for me. I'm getting a title shot now, but now you're giving him a title shot too. So they have this little kind of interaction, this little kind of stare down as Jericho and Owens are going up the ramp. Owens once again holds up his championship. He's a little irate, but the show ends with Zayn and Rollins staring each other down, and then looking over at Owens holding up the Universal Championship, ultimately stating that they want the championship, but they've got to go through each other, it seems, to get it. And they have to team up with each other next week. So there you have it, guys. I booked a 3-hour episode of Raw, and I feel like I booked a great episode. Look at everything I did. We have storyline continuity. We have storytelling. We have, characters being built, and we have feuds being established. The Universal Championship picture just got bigger. I mean, isn't that what you want from Monday Night Raw? You want great stories. You want intriguing characters. You want stories that are just going to hook you. You know what I'm saying? You want feuds you're going to remember in the next few months, years, whatever. So there you go. There you have it. I booked an entire 3-hour episode of Raw that, in my opinion, would be better than whatever Raw's going to give us tonight in LA. I don't have Ashton Kutcher on here. I don't have Danny Matheson or whatever that dude's name is. I'm not giving away matches that deserve to be on pay-per-view. I know what we fans deserve. I know what makes a good to great show, and I pretty much just gave it to you guys in this video. And keep in mind, this video is not even 3 hours long. It's almost an hour long, but look at what I did. And based on the feedback I'm getting in the chat, you guys really liked what I did. TN Couponer says, interesting twist, Robbie. Hope you can work the Survivor Series main event in Toronto. Owens versus Jericho versus Zayn for Universal title. That was one of the ideas that I had even before I started booking this whole thing. With them all being in Canada, why not do Owens versus Jericho versus Zayn, or Owens versus Zayn? I think Owens versus Zayn is the money match, considering that it's going to be in Canada, their birth country. So that would be just awesome, And Tia Cooper also says, Robbie, you need to send your notes to WWE. If you do, good luck. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Maybe I will. But, yeah, I mean, there you go. And John McDermott asked, do I watch Total Drama? No, I do not watch Total Drama. I know somebody thought you said you were talking about Total Divas, but there is a show called Total Drama. No, I do not watch it. Maybe I'll watch it one day. But that's it, guys. That is my episode of Monday Night Raw for October 3rd, 2016. I'm going to leave the chat open for a few minutes. Tell me, guys, what you like the best about the show. If I was to book Monday Night Raw next week, what would you like to see? What storyline or feud would you be most excited to see continue? So like I said, I'm going to leave the chat open for a little bit. Guys, keep throwing your questions, comments my way. Take another swig of water because, like I said, I've been talking a lot today. Just reading all this. I mean, all this 7-page script, set of notes, whatever you want to call it. I mean, this was no joke. Booking this was no joke. So I really hope everybody enjoyed it. And guys, if you know anybody who doesn't want to watch Monday Night Raw tonight, send them the link to this video and tell them, if you want to watch a 3-hour Raw that's worth watching, watch this. I don't fucking write for WWE. I don't book for them, and I just fucking booked a 3-hour Raw that's better than any 3-hour Raw they've booked since freaking July 25th. I can't stop, it's the one show that Daniel Geiser keeps mentioning. That July 25th Raw in Pittsburgh was proof that 3-hour Raws can indeed be great shows. So, let's see what else you guys have listed in the comments section. Do you listen to Closer or Closer? No. I remember him asking me that question last time. So yeah, guys, I mean, there you go. I booked a 3-hour episode of Monday Night Raw. I really like what I did with people like Nia Jax and Rusev, and the Cruiserweight Gauntlet. I thought was very exciting and great. Paige's return, I love that. The Cesaro backstage segment is probably my favorite segment that I wrote in this entire show. T and Couponer says so much could happen in next week's main event. Rollins and Zayn may not get along, or Jericho costs Owens a tag match. This is interesting. Yeah, definitely, because it's not like I booked a match that's predictable. You know, I have ideas for next week's Monday Night Raw. If you guys want me to book that, I have ideas for that main event that I started coming up with last week, actually. You know, T and Couponer asked, could Charlotte and Paige form an alliance to end Sasha? Maybe. I haven't really thought about what I'm going to do with Paige other than the things we did with Bayley. Who knows? You know, I just want to try and make the Raw Women's Division very significant, because I've said this in other videos. The only four women on Raw that get any time at all are Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, and Dana. You also have Summer Rae on the main roster, who made her first in-ring appearance in God knows how long on my show. And then you have Paige, and like I said, Paige, before she got suspended, only had like one appearance on Raw following the brand split. So I want to make Paige relevant again. She's awesome. And I've met Paige in person. She's an awesome person, you know what I'm saying? T and Couponer asked, could Charlotte put a bounty on Sasha for somebody to collect? You know what? I didn't even stop to think of that. That's a really good idea. I might use that. That's a really good idea. Charlotte puts a bounty on Sasha for somebody to collect. Think about it. Paige is back. Nia Jax is on the hunt. Alicia Fox might want to collect it. Who knows? So, yeah, I mean, I really like that idea, Josh. I might use it. Great idea, man. Shit, why aren't you booking for WWE too, you know? So yeah, let me ask you guys this: if this was the Monday Night Raw you were gonna get tonight, would you watch? Hashtag yes Raw or hashtag no Raw. If this was the Raw you were gonna get, would you watch or would you not watch? Another swig of water real quick. So yeah, guys, I know Monday Night Raw is about to start live, legit live, in like 15 minutes. I don't get it until 8 o'clock, but yeah, guys, I am not watching Monday Night Raw tonight. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna take a break from Raw for a little while. I mean, I could. Can you answer my question? Yeah. I'm sorry, John. I got caught up in that. Which female celebrity would I kiss? Well, I kiss a bunch of them. How would I say that? If we're talking women's wrestlers, Sasha, Charlotte, Bayley, Becky, Dana, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, Lana, Andrea DeMarco, Dasha Fuentes, Asuka, Liv Morgan, trying to think of the other ladies on NXT. Billie Kay, Ember Moon. I'll just throw out a bunch of other names. Any female celebrity I could kiss: Sarah Underwood, Ronda Rousey, Paige Van Zant, Deborah Ann Woll from Daredevil, Kristen Ritter, who plays Jessica Jones. Would I kiss Selena Gomez? Kiss on the cheek, yeah. I give her a kiss on the cheek out of respect. Eddie M, Rosalyn Sanchez, bunch of female celebrities. T and Couponer says hashtag yes Raw. Thank you, Josh. So he definitely tune in if my episode of Raw was airing tonight. And he also says Cedric could eventually go after U.S. title after a cruiserweight title reign. Yes, that's what I was saying in other videos. I feel like Cedric Alexander would make a great cruiserweight champion. Don't get me wrong, but I also feel like he can transcend. He can transcend. He can transcend the cruiserweight division and ultimately win like the Intercontinental title or the U.S. title, and then maybe in the end become the WWE World world champion or the WWE Universal Champion, depending on where he's at. So I definitely could see Cedric Alexander being that one cruiserweight that transcends the division and like breaks the mold like Eddie and Jericho and Ray did in their respective careers. So I definitely could see that happening. John McDermott says she's my favorite celebrity. I'm assuming Selena Gomez, you mean? Yeah, she's very pretty. Great talent. I do like a few of her songs. Checking the feed. Checking the feed. Okay, so this is interesting. So I'm on Twitter, and at WWE, well, the WWE Universe Twitter account says that they posted an image of Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, and they said they're the guys who will put an end to all the fun and games. So hopefully we're gonna get ass kicking Gallows and Anderson from New Japan Pro Wrestling or from when they first debuted in Raw, and not Doctors Gallows and Anderson, or the old retirement home, whatever that crap was, and no old day gimmick. No, don't ever do that again. So yeah, hopefully Gallows and Anderson look at the proper booking. Because I honestly feel like if they don't win the tag team championships if they don't win the tag team championships next time around, they need to go to SmackDown. So yeah, let me check out a few more things. John McDermott says AJ Lee reminds me of my girlfriend. I miss AJ in WWE. TN Couponer says I think Cedric could upset The Miz on SmackDown too as Daniel Bryan's mystery man. Yeah, that could happen. See, here's the thing though. I'm loving The Miz as Intercontinental Champion. So like I don't want to see his championship reign end anytime soon. I want to see him be champion after WrestleMania. So that'll be at least, I want him to hold on to the championship until at least after the night after WrestleMania, or like a couple days after WrestleMania, because then that will be a legit 1 year that he's been Intercontinental Champion. But yeah, I could see Cedric Alexander eventually dethroning Miz for the championship, but I don't want it to happen simply because for right now, because I want Miz to either break Honky Tonk Man's record or at least go a year as the Intercontinental Champion, because he's been doing really well as champion. And I've never been the biggest Miz fan, but he's won me over with his promos and his work ethic and everything. So yeah, Miz has been killing it as Intercontinental Champion. TN Couponer says I want somebody to take the belts off New Day before they break Demolition's record. And okay, John McDermott says real quick, I'm out Raw is Bieber. All right, thank you for joining me, John. I appreciate your feedback. If you're still there, hey, give me a grade real quick down in the chat box. Did you say you give me an 8 out of 10 or an A? Give me a grade real quick. But thank you for your comments, of course, and thanks for joining me. TN Couponer says later down the road about the Intercontinental title. Yeah, maybe have Cedric kill it on Raw as Intercontinental Champion, and then they do a big trade, and Cedric comes to SmackDown where he goes into a feud right away with The Miz, and then he beats Miz at like SummerSlam for the title. That's perfect. But for now, let Miz hold on to the championship. Sorry, guys, I just took a break. All right, John McDermott gives my show a B. Well, you know what? Hey, I'll gladly take a B, because I'd rather be producing A and B shows than C, D, and F shows. So thank you very much for the grade, John, and again, thanks for joining me. I'm gonna leave the chat open until 5 o'clock. I think I'm gonna just call it a day with this video in a few minutes. So whoever's left, Any other comments, questions, thoughts, leave them in the chat box. And of course, for those that watch this video later, leave your comments down below and everything. Let me know what you think, what you thought of my show overall. Because this was a lot of fun for me to do. It was challenging at times, a little stressful, but in the end, it was just a lot of fun because if I'm booking Raw and I'm booking a show this damn good where you have a lot of people, you're getting a lot of people intrigued by like the matches you have and the feud you're building and everything, then yeah, you know I'm booking a good to great show. And I don't even freaking work for WWE, and I can book a better 3-hour episode of Raw than they did. So yeah, let's see. And talking about Cesaro and Sheamus, the tag team, I really think that's stupid. That's why I did that whole backstage segment. TN Couponer gives me, first off, he says still debating on to watch Raw or not. Honestly, Josh, if you don't want to put yourself through the 3 hours, don't do it. You can always watch highlights on YouTube. So I'm just saying, cause I'm not gonna put myself through it tonight. I might watch next week or the week after, but I'm just not in the mood to watch Raw tonight. And he gives me a B+. So thank you, B+. That's awesome. You know, I'll gladly take a B or a B+. Like I said, I'd rather book A and B shows than book C, D, or F shows because I want my product to excel big time. And I'm very happy and very proud of all the work I put into this. I mean, like I said, I think the Cesaro segment was the best thing that I booked on there. But then again, I love doing the whole twist with Sami Zayn getting the title shot at Hell in a Cell, and Sasha going after Charlotte the way she did, and the whole accident, like what really caused that accident, and the cruiserweights tearing it up in that gauntlet match. It's definitely a lot of fun. And I love WWE, guys. You know I love WWE. But honestly, SmackDown to me, that's the A show right there. And that's the A show. I love NXT as well. But Raw, until they start putting on really good to great shows, I'm just not gonna watch. I'm just taking a break for now. I don't want to put myself through that torture of 3 hours. I'm just like, the breaking point for me, like I've said in videos before, was Clash of Champions and how that show felt like Sunday Night Raw. So yeah. See, anything else? Anything else? Last call, guys, for any questions, comments, thoughts, predictions. And speaking of predictions, I will be doing Clash of Champions predictions this week. Not Clash of Champions, No Mercy predictions. Very excited for No Mercy. And speaking of No Mercy, guys, I hope to make it out there. It looks like I will be making it out there to Sacramento for the show. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see that show live. Just waiting on a confirmation for tickets. But with that said, you know what, guys? I think I'm just going to end the stream right here. I do appreciate everybody that tuned in, and Clash of Champions felt like an AM Raw. There was a show called AM Raw, wasn't there? There was a show called AM Raw. I think so. But yeah, Clash of Champions just felt like Sunday Night Raw. That's why I was like, fuck it, I'm not watching Monday Night Raw. Screw this show. I'm done. Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you, Josh. I am looking forward to having a good time at No Mercy. We're just trying to finalize everything with tickets, like who's going to buy them and whatnot. But there are still tickets available. Like, I'm surprised there are still $400 ringside seats available at that show, which is crazy. But we're not spending $400. If we were rich, yeah, we'd buy the tickets and sit ringside. But no. I wish Brandon Hodge was coming to this show. I really do. I wish he was coming to Sacramento for this show. But I hope to meet Stevie Breach and Zach Brown and whoever else may be there from the Click. It's going to be fun. Like I said, we just need to finalize who's going to buy the tickets and get them soon. because tickets are still available. I'm really surprised that ringside's still available. I guess not a lot of people want to go to the show. Um, but yeah, I mean, I really, if we all had the money, we'd pay 400 to go ringside. That'd be awesome. But yeah, WWE taking over the Bay Area this weekend, starting Sunday with No Mercy in Sacramento, Raw in Oakland on Monday, SmackDown in San Jose on Tuesday. It's gonna be fun. And NXT, of course, is coming to San Jose at the end of the month, so I really hope to go to that. All right. Well, with that said, guys, I think I am going to bring this stream to an end. I'd like to thank everybody that tuned in and watched this live stream. I was very honored and pleased to present to you guys my very first fantasy episode of Monday Night Raw. Great fantasy booking video. I really appreciate everybody's feedback. So guys, if you want me to come back and do what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait until Friday to see what kind of feedback I get on this video. And if I get a lot of positive feedback and you guys want me to book next Monday's episode of Raw to follow up the one I just did, I'll gladly do it. And if you guys want me to book Hell in a Cell, I'll gladly do that too, as long as I get enough positive feedback from a lot of you guys. TN Couponer says for that much, might as well go WWE VIP. I know, right? But yeah. I wish I had that Brandon Hodge money, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching and listening. For those in the chat who joined me this whole time, please share this video with your friends. If they're frustrated with Monday Night Raw and they don't want to watch Raw tonight, show them this video and say, this is a 3-hour Raw worth watching. It is fantasy booking, but still, this is a Monday Night Raw worth watching. I understand the product. I understand who's over and who's not, and who deserves to be getting chances. So, yeah, guys. And then for those who watch this after the stream ends, leave your comments down below. Answer me these 3 things, guys. Would you watch the show if this is the show you were getting tonight? What your thoughts were on my show, and what grade would you give it overall? And also answer if you'd like me to do fantasy booking for next Monday, October 10th. So with that said, guys, thank you all for watching and listening. Please click that subscribe button. I'm Robbie1 Kenobi signing off. Thank you for joining me for fantasy booking Monday Night Raw for October 3rd, 2016. And be on the lookout for my No Mercy live predictions video later this week. And I'll also be hoping to do a WWE 2K17 preview video with my boy Brandon, aka the Wrestling Fan 16. So keep your eyes out for those videos. Thanks again for watching and listening, guys. Everybody have a good evening, and I'll see you all later. This is Robbie1 Kenobi signing out. Peace.